Hello, folks, and Christ, this is going horrifically. Stopping every 5 fucking minutes, seconds. Yep, just walk right over that whole growth. Suppose this is near.
Slow now.
Come on.
Heya.
Yes. If you want to tank me, you're gonna have to chase me down.
Whoa there, Roach.
He's still coming.
Come on, Roach.
And you know, if he still keeps following me, it'll just make his line of "Oh, I thank you" all the funnier because he just spent so long chasing me just to say it. Ruined my fun. He gave up.
Move it.
Might have been him just walking there, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. In. The journal is completely soaked and only a few entries can be deciphered. Belhaven, 23rd day of service. Nothing irritates me more than land rats thinking they're cock of the walk. You count Jean-Jo Belger, that's what the impertinent prick made me call him, managed to assuage my irritation and dab by clinking a hefty pouch of Nilfgaardian thorns on the table. Illegible fragment. His entourage rode the ship of baubles and holds this huge cage covered with his. Hold on this huge cage covered with a sail. Belgard explained it held one of the famed Zangubarian striped horses, a gift for Duchess Henrietta. Ballhaven to Buclair route, 24th day of service. We've had nothing but trouble with this Bulgarian Zangubarian horse. Gnaws on the deck like a beast gone mad. Plus, we've got to make sure the tarp covering its cage is fastened, tightly fastened, for it seems this creature is as sensitive to the sun's rays as a vampire. In which case, what's goods it to the Duchess? A striped horse she can only ride at night. There's no comprehending these aristocrats. 1,000 thundering sea devils. Belhaven Buclair route, 25th day of service. 1,000 thundering sea devils. That was no horse in that cage, but a god's blasted Shilmar. Overgrown rock rat chewed through the deck, capsized the ship, and burrowed into the river bottom. Then that idiot Count Belgar fell to his knees and begged me to help him catch the monster. He handed me the key to the chest of jewels he kept close watch on the whole trip and swore it'd be mine if we would capture that monstrosity. I'd most like to grab a tick club, smack him upside the head, and take that chest right now, but I'm not some plowing pirate. I'll gather the lads who managed to survive the wreck, and we'll try to catch the monster in our nets. Count claimed to know some trickery to use to sneak up on the beast. What was this about again? You know, the game's been pretty nice. There's nothing thus far that requires you to have the killer whale potion. It helps, but there's none that outright requires it. Okay, here's the Shellmar himself. The Heroin Runestone. Okay, Damage Journal, Teora, materials. The journal kept chaotically, dates missing, inkblots abound. What on earth got into me? Am I going to master Dandelion's bowels in front of her illustrious grace? Ah, to fall into disfavor in such a foolish way. Dandelion has really done a number on the Duchess. Knowing Dandelion, yeah, it was probably the womanizing. I don't know what happened between the two of them, but I'm just guessing he probably tried and successfully seduced her, then went off to get a bottle of wine and never came back. Like he did with the chick in Novigrad. Make the Geralt wear, you know, another bandana over his face and pretend to be some bandit. Again. An young, ambitious politician with brilliant career prospects at the ducal court, then find myself exiled due to my own stupidity. Must find a way to plead the Duchess's forgiveness. So the Emperor has offered the Duchess a very strange gift, a Shilmar. Denied her to face off against it during the tourney. Nor are I to make a similar offering to her illustrious grace. Inconceivable. The gods have smiled on me. Ran into a witcher in Belhaven willing to help me catch a young Shilmar. Naturally, he demanded a fortune for her services, but ready to do anything to get myself out of the Duchess's black books, which collected a down payment and set off for the Amal Mountains. I've got it. Success. With an offering for her grace worthy of an emperor, I can at least return to the Dutch and seek forgiveness, though I need to find a way to transport the Shilmar to Beauclair. I gathered my entire retinue. Together we embarked on the good ship Suzanne. With the current in our favour, we shall be in the capital in a mere 3 days. I feel like the hero of some elven tragedy. Just when it all seems to be going perfectly, catastrophes fall from the sky and pummel me to the ground. Shilmar chewed through the deck, sank the ship and dug its way into the river bottom. Begged the captain to help me capture the monster in exchange for the rest of my fortune. As Witcher instructed, I will light incense made of rue and directly smoke at the monster, which should calm it. The sailors can then capture it in their nets. I am finished. The rue incense did not work. The Shilmar flew into a rage and killed nearly everyone. True, the captain managed to escape, but I could see he was badly wounded, so I doubt he managed to swim out of the cavern. Now I sit here alone, listening to the Shilmar devour the remains of murdered sailors. You, the person who's found my journal, whoever you may be, take the rest of my fortune. For what good is a chest of jewels to a pile of moldy bones? In exchange, please drink to my health, and to my sad fate, to the hero of a true elfin tragedy. Just hummed a song and got exiled for it. Dandelion really didn't. Okay, I didn't see that on the other one. Dandelion must have really done a number in the Duchess. Getting seduced her, then ran off. I'm putting money on it. Actually, if we look up the oh, here we are. If this world has ever known a rule who enjoyed the absolute admiration of her subjects without need for systematic repression or particularly cruel hangman, it was without a doubt the sovereign of Toussaint, Duchess Anna Henrietta. Called Henrietta by those who knew her well, she was the... I knew it! I knew it! She was the widow of the late lamented Duke Raymond and one time lover of a very famous and talented artist, but preferred to remain anonymous. Oh, I knew it! He's away with the ladies, in more ways than one. A few years prior, when the Witcher and a band of friends were visiting Toussaint, Anna Henrietta had the pleasure of meeting Geralt of Rivia. When a mysterious beast began attacking her courtiers, the Duchess knew exactly whom to summon. While searching for the beast, the Duchess proved, when the need arose, she was able to through the chains of convention, get her hands dirty with direct action alongside the Witcher, even if she had to do it in a state of relative dishabille? I don't know how to say that word. After GotY, trusted central to the Ankrak Jarls, passed away, a portion of his duties were taken over by the Jarl's cup-bearer, Arnvald. This elderly Skelger did not possess the far-reaching authority of his predecessor, but still managed to make himself irreplaceable in his few years in the position. His purview included not only stocking the larders and cellars of Caer, but also seeing to the needs of the keep's inhabitants, as well as guests that visited during feasts and other important ceremonies. That is why his betrayal could not have come as a greater surprise. When caught, Arnvald confessed to his role in the murder conspiracy, revealing his patron as well as his long-seating hatred for Clan on Crack. Barnabas and Basil Fawlty. Basil Fawlty. Isn't that Fawlty Towers? I think that's a reference to that. I think I've only heard a reference. I've never actually watched it, but I think this guy, and maybe all of his references here, are just a fucking reference to it. To one, okay, he's a reference, and to one degree or another, what his backstory could also be a reference, and the tales he tells. It could be all a reference, you know? He's a reference, and any degree of the rest of it could be a reference. I'm on to your game. The major domo of Corvo Bianco was a gentleman's gentleman if there's ever been one. His whole life he'd served distinguished nobles. The Kenway family, for example, or Admiral Rompali, for another. For he would never tolerate an employer who detracted from his personal dignity. Since Barnabas Basil remembered the times of Monsieur Bellius and Baron Rossel, he was a wellspring of anecdotes about the vineyard's past, knew every corner and every secret of Corvo Bianco. Next to the administrator, he offered a wealth of good advice concerning the modernization and management of the estate. Geralt could not have hoped for better help. One could even say that by entrusting Corvo Bianco to hands of the marvelous major domo, Anna Henrietta had given the Witcher the most beautiful present he'd ever received. For a home without someone capable to care for it is no home at all. Bart, the troll guarding Dijkstra's treasure, could have been the poster boy for the latest craze sweeping Novigrad's wealthy strata, a trend that had swept over everyone from bankers and merchants to the underworld crime bosses. The fashion in question prized guards marked not just by fierce loyalty, but also massive size, endless stamina, and crushing physical strength. Well-developed intellect, on the other hand, was considered unnecessary and quite possibly detrimental to guards' performance. To be blunt, a good watchman should be brainless enough to render any thought of betraying his master impossible. This is why trolls, ogres, and as a last result magic crossbreeds were highly prized for such roles. It can be difficult for one to gain the esteem of knights and warriors not accustomed to seeing female hands in the reins of power. It helps little when Berna, widow of King Bran of Skelga, the... one second. It helps little when, like Berna, widow of King Bran of Skelga, the woman seeking power is filled with accurate disdain for her countrymen and their customs. One might argue that disdain is valid reaction, when in the case of passing of a man of power embodies tradition, those customs call on her to follow along since outdated ritual and cast herself on her husband's funeral pyre. Just whether or not, Berna's desire to rewrite age-old Skelga traditions put her at odds with the Jarls, made unlikely she would be remembered alongside Caleth of Sintra, or Maeve of Lyria, as a successful and revealed ruler. Berna likewise refused to hide her disgust with the customs, choosing a ruler by the vote of Jarls. She dreamed of establishing a hereditary kingship in Skelga, thought the ideal dynasty to hold it was her own, starting with her and Bran's son, the young Svenrig. In all probability, it was this longing for power that drove Berna to concoct a conspiracy that ended in the massacre of Caer. The evidence gathered by Geralt and Cerys sealed Berna's fate. Apparently, in the ending I'm working off here for Ciri, she does actually have, someone was claiming online that she does actually have Vesemir's talisman in it. So it's possible she went and finished off the crone that survived. I'm gonna go look up this son, because I'm curious to see if he's adding on him. I don't see him. Is he down here? Okay, I don't think the sun actually was important enough to warrant an entry. I don't remember actually reading this guy's thing. Geralt has taken on a mad assortment of tasks in his life, many of which strayed far beyond his core trade of monster hunting. Routing a team to break into the vault in Borsodi's auction house, however, stood out as atypical, even against this motley backdrop. One of the shady characters Witcher was told would make a good candidate was Quinto, the most famed safecracker north of the Yaruga. Quinto gave proof of his reputation was well deserved. He opened the cage in which the group of mercenaries led by Hans of Cadaris held him using only a fishbone. After this feat, the Witcher no doubt Quinto was the man to fill the gap in his breaking crew. Quinto demonstrated craftsmanship of a true artist by taking open the auction house vault doors in a blink of an eye, also demonstrated the rotten cynicism of true lowlife by displaying not one speck of loyalty to his companions. In the fight which took place in the auction house basement, he stood against the Witcher and paid for this mistake with his life. I would wager anyone that you, dear reader, are a person of culture and taste, and therefore already familiar with me, Dandelion, and the role I am to play in the following tale. Nevertheless, allow me to sketch a few lines by way of self-portrait, for the sake of thoroughness, and in the event you spend much of the last half-century in some dark corner, where the light of my star has yet to reach. Born in 1229, a talented poet and troubadour, a graduate of the Oxford Academy, a frequent performer at royal courts, an unequaled lover, appreciated in some cases adored by ladies worldwide, a skilled negotiator and stern orator, such is the image of the bard Dandelion as painted by his friends and promoters. Such image is, of course, somewhat overbright in its colouring. Personally, I prefer to think of myself as a dedicated artist enthralled to his muse, one whose work has benefited measurably from the fact that I was, am, and forever will remain a close friend and stalwart companion to the Witcher Geralt. It is his fate I chronicle in this present work, and his story which I shall sing to the end of my days. Having learned of my disappearance, Geralt dropped everything to find out what had become of me. Though at first he suspected the cause of my trouble lay in my many and turbulent affairs of the heart, he later determined that I had strayed into a life of crime, seeking to steal treasure belonging to one of the leaders of Novigradz's underworld. The motivations of my actions only became clear some time later, proved that when it came to helping Cirilla, I was not balk at sticking my hand into the lion's maw, let alone crossing such common scum as Cypherian Wily, better known, for good reason, as Horsa. Would not balk at sticking my head into the lion's maw, let alone crossing such common scum as Horsa. Only a madman calls it courage to fight when faced with overwhelming odds. Though known for my capricious and unpredictable charm, I'm not yet considered mad, and so, while defending my companion's escape to the last, very last, I ultimately allowed the temple guard to take me to their prison, where I awaited my imminent execution. The saying does not lie. True friends show when fortune hides her face. My dear comrades gave ample evidence of this by breaking me free from my prison transport and saving me from certain and painful death. Sadly, Dandelion didn't really have much part to play beyond that. I really do like Dandelion as well as Zoltan. I really would love to have seen more of the two of them. Don't recognize this guy. One of the people Geralt encountered at the Beauclair court was Captain Damien de la Tour, Captain of the Ducal Guard, who absolutely and unconditionally did think unthinkingly would be unfair, yet not entirely inaccurate, devoted to his position, worshipped the ground the Duchess walked on. For all my personal opinion, was most definitely besotted with her. He came across as a typical soldier, i.e. a thick-headed lackey who, seeing Geralt, immediately decided he must prove who had the more massive unmentionables. Geralt treated this challenge with dispassionate superiority, yet accepted it nonetheless, and in doing so earned himself another enemy. Deathclaw. Okay, let's find Zol. A dwarf, a soldier of fortune, a veteran of the Battle of Brienne, an unassailable optimist, a committed altruist, a lover of rough drinks and rougher songs, a master Gwent player, and above all, a dear and loyal friend to me and Geralt. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present Zoltan Cheve. We first became fast friends years ago when Geralt and I ran into Zoltan and the band he was leading at the time across war-stricken Riverdale. It proved our fate to cross paths many times after, and we eventually became inseparable companions, sticking together through good and ill. At our tale's beginning, Zoltan and I had gotten into business together, running an Overgrad tavern called the Rosemary and Thyme. By saving me from the transport and taking me to my doom, Zoltan proved yet again he never abandoned a friend in need. In return, Zoltan soon found himself on the receiving end of an active friendship. Suffering some financial difficulties, taking out a loan from one of the Novigrad mob bosses, Zoltan made many unfortunate enemies. He planned to repay his debt by gaining a prized collection of Gwent cards. Risky endeavour, given the cultural nature of the Novigrad Gwent circles at the time, and one that would have never worked out without Geralt's help. Sadly, no entry about him helping out during the, Attack of the Wild Hunt. Though the youngest of three crones, Weaveress was not one jot less ugly or evil than her older sisters. It was she who wove their magic tapestries of human hair, gathered as tribute from the young children in nearby villages during their cutting ceremonies. These ceremonies were how the worshippers of the ladies of the wood made contact with and paid homage to their deities. The fight on the Bald Mountain was meant to put an end to all tree crones, but Weaveress evaded her elder sister's fate. She was able to escape by transforming into a flock of ravens, and took Cyril's medallion with her. The crones of Velen were not just old, they were literally ancient, being around since the reign of the first human kings, possibly even since the coming of the elves. Of the three ghastly sisters, Weaveress was the most ancient, or at least so claimed the swamp dwellers, whispered legends. Whispered, for if they spoke too loud the crone would hear it, for she demanded tribute in the form of human ears, which she hung from trees, and through which, using primeval magic, she heard all that happened in the forest. Yet no magic, however old, could save her from Cyril's wrath. Caperian Wild, the younger of one of Novigrad's most dangerous criminals, had inherited his father's casinos, fighting ring, and brothels, as well as the old man's sadistic tendencies, ruthlessness, and lack of scruples. These traits had made the moniker Whoreson something of a family heirloom for his powerful criminal clan. Caperian also took after his father in terms of ambition. He broke down written armistice between Novigrad's various criminal groups and tried to murder the other three leading underworld bosses. Whoreson's audacity had a very specific cause: King Radovid, who had commissioned the gangster's actions. As it turned out, Radovid's plan for Whoreson to start a gang war in Novigrad was for Whoreson to start a gang war in Novigrad. Resulting in chaos, Radovid would take control of the city with ease. While searching Caperian's home den of iniquity, Geralt discovered the nickname Whoreson was in fact an understatement. Something much stronger was needed to describe a man who delighted in murdering captive women. In addition to blackmail, extortion, murder, and torture, the list of Whoreson's crimes also included trying to harm Ciri. Geralt took this very personally and made the bandit pay for his last sin with his life. The Witcher first met the raven-haired sorceress a good 20 years back. Their friendship and feelings between them were born of a common adventure involving a genie and a wish granted to Geralt that intertwined their fates inextricably. In the time since then, their relationship had, however, been quite stormy, rich in ups and downs, crises and breakups. Geralt and Yennefer's love proved irrefutable proof of the thesis that opposites attract. A few years ago, Geralt and Yennefer had, after a long separation full of adventures for both of them, gotten back together again. The Yennefer's proposal was interrupted by the wild hunt, which took Yennefer captive. Witcher set out at once to save her, but lost his memory while doing so. When he finally recovered, he immediately set off once more on his quest to find his beloved sorceress. Circumstances of Geralt's initial reunion with Yennefer after 2 years were quite different than he imagined. Sorceress was not only safe and sound, but even secured the aid of an unexpected and mighty ally, the Nilfgaardian Empire. The thick air of repressed hostility reigned during Geralt's time with Yennefer and Skellige. More than one sorceress sharply expressed her displeasure, sparing no cutting remark, just like during the best years of the relationship. In the end, however, the Witcher's patience was rewarded, and her expedition to retrieve the mask of her boars brought the former lovers back together. The gulf that had risen between them during their time of separation seemed that much narrower. In order to obtain the information they needed, Yennefer did not hesitate to extort necromancy, destroy the goddess Freya's garden while doing so. The proud sorceress felt any guilt as a result. As usual, she showed no sign of it. The idea of hunting another genie together did not at first arouse Geralt's enthusiasm, but Yennefer had a truly valid reason for wanting it. If she succeeded in forcing the genie to take back the wish binding her to the Witcher, she would finally know if the feelings between them were truly love or merely magic. The genie granted Yennefer's request, and that special magic between Geralt and Yennefer disappeared forever, leaving behind only regret, emptiness, and a feeling of loss. Sadly, it is true what they say: be careful what you wish for. Though the sorceress's difficult character had made life miserable for everyone in Kaer Morhen, in the end it was her stubborn determination that led to Uma's disenchantment and the lifting of Avallac's curse. Yennefer had always felt some ends justified otherwise unsavory means. It became clear rescuing Ciri required the help of Philippa Elhart and the other sorceresses for Val Lodge. She forgot about any bad blood and convinced Emir to grant them an amnesty. Vimy Vivaldi. The dwarves had been in the banking business since the legendary King Desmond of Temeria was just a snot-nosed brat in short trousers asking for more yam for his bwyd. Since then, the prominent dwarven banking families, the Gincardis, the Vivaldis, and the Sinfalius, have only expanded their services, establishing branches in all the larger cities in the north. Vimy Vivaldi carried the torch of this venerable tradition into modern times, growing the Novigrad branch of his family's bank up to the largest in the city. Geralt and I had met him over a dozen years before story begins, and had always appreciated his honesty and financial acumen. The latter he gave further proof of during the time in which our story takes place, where his bank remained profitable even in the face of growing non-human oppression.